And so spiritual people get taken advantage of and taken for granted all the time because they give away their energy that they've worked so hard to get to because of how the energy vampires come to get it. And I'm sure a lot of you who are on your spiritual journey know about energy vampires. They're magnetically called to it. They're zombie mode. They come in to fill up their cup and they leave you depleted. And it's through manipulation. And what happens is, as a spiritual person who's in pursuit of truth and honesty, you give it away and they go, no problem, and they'll take it. Now you've got to set up these boundaries, spiritually speaking, for yourself. Boundaries are not for other people to respect. And that's what this video is going to show you. Boundaries are your problem. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to stop them taking you for granted, how to stop energy vampires from depleting everything you have, and help you understand how the energy actually gets replaced by yourself and how you give it away for free, and then how to stop doing that. So the part you have to understand is that your energy is magnetic. It's like a great cologne or a great perfume. You are calling people in. Now, the reason most people get pulled into spirituality and have the awakening is because the ego doesn't ever serve them. They finally realize that the things of this world are not going to come and bring them satisfaction. They're not going to come and bring them the things that they are after. But an energy vampire is well aware, whether consciously, unconsciously, but in themselves, they're very aware of the ego desires that you have. So the way an energy vampire will approach you is by looking like exactly what you want. That's how they come in to your space. They look like you are finally going to get everything you thought you wanted. That's what they look like, the delivery man. So that's what they look like to you as a spiritually awakened person. Oh, my manifestation's coming in. And what happens is we sit and devote our energy back into investing in ego desire. And we do this at the back of our minds. This is not a conscious thing, or else we wouldn't do it. But we get caught in that ego trap of finally everything I want is coming my way. I'm finally going to get the things that I was promised through manifestation and all the things I wanted to have. Now, for those of you who've been here for a while, you know I always say that the world consists of three things: people, places, and things. Because those are what we want. We might want to live on a beach, or we might want to work in a really good office. That's the where. We want good relationships where people actually value us. That's the people. And then the things are maybe nice cars, big fat bank account. They are all actually pursuits of feeling. And once you become spiritual, what happens is you start to let go and denounce the people, places, and things and serve the feeling. But that doesn't mean that that desire disappears and will never return and will never be important to us again. And as spiritually awakened people, we have to some degree, accept that we are feeling those desires and that there will always be something there that we want within it. We might find something better, but we do get distracted. It's not about being perfect, and it's difficult to stay on this path. So in the Bible it says it's easier to fit a camel through the eye of a needle than it is to enter the kingdom of heaven. I'll find the verse and put it on the screen with the exact words and where you can find it, because I'm sure you guys know I'm not great at quoting these things word for word, but even though it's not verbatim, the message stands true. It's easier to put a camel through the eye of a needle. Now, an eye of a needle is not like a sewing needle. The reference is to the old citadels. They used to have walls around them, and there would be these small tunnels that you could crawl through in and out, and they used to call that the eye of the needle. And the whole analogy there is it's easier to put a camel through there than it is to stay in that spiritual vortex and spiritual peace, because of those desires from people, places, and things coming back and distracting us. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't mean that we're bad. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that it's the battle we have to keep on fighting. And the energy vampires rock up with all the best words to almost sound like they are either the people you want, or they're going to offer you the opportunities that you've always wanted. Whatever the promises are that they are making, the ego is ultimately the one that says, come on, let's go follow it. But what they are there for is what they invest in, which is the energy, and it's magnetic. It's a good smelling perfume. So they go where the smell is good. They can see it on your energy when you're a good, kind-hearted person. So what they do is come with all these promises. And what we have to do is at that point realize that we will go with it up until the point that we cross our own boundaries. Not that someone else crosses our boundaries. We have to look at our part to play in it. If something feels off and it's not that peace that I know that I want to pursue and serve, and something doesn't feel right, we listen to that because it's already removing us from the ultimate goal, which is the peace anyway, and we have that already. So when they start coming in and they get pulled in by this intoxicating energy of spiritual closeness to enlightenment, because I don't think anyone is ever really enlightened. Enlightenment is a journey, I believe. When you unalive one day, that's when you're enlightened. And so it's not about being super aware now and using fear to detect the vampires. It's not about going, oh, okay, well, now I've got to be nervous and watch out for. That's not what I'm saying at all. What it is be your authentic self and follow that even when promises are being made. Never lose sight of the ultimate thing that pulls you out of the hole. That's the magic. Don't lose sight of that feeling of peace, of fulfillment that's pulling you out of the very hole that you keep getting stuck into by falling for these vampires. It can be relationship-wise, it can be friendships, it can be, like I said, promises of opportunity. Whenever you get depleted and you end up feeling completely flat and they walk away with all the energy, what pulls you out? It's that pursuing of peace. But there's always a lesson, and because everything happens for a reason, these vampires are nothing more than teachers. And that's the whole point. Once you find the ultimate truth of spirituality and you find that sense, that vortex, that awakening experience of complete elation, and you're freed from your suffering. If you know to pursue that in your heart of hearts, everything else is only ever going to teach you how to stay there. So we must be grateful for energy vampires, as counterproductive as that sounds. We have to be grateful for them. They are showing us our weak spots. They are showing us where we don't have right boundaries for ourselves. They serve a purpose, is what I'm trying to say. So your good energy sending out these messages is always going to bring in absolute paradox. It's going to bring in the worst and the best. It's going to be a gift for your contribution energetically, but also the next lesson. And we never stop learning. So the whole point is when they come, it's not about catching them out and, like I said, using fear and being hyper aware and being like, I'm going to catch you out. It's just about going, I'm not going to cross my own boundaries. And no matter what test comes my way, what teacher comes my way, if I follow that peace, that universal peace that I use to manifest things, it's that peace that's going to pull me away from the threat of it. And there's no real threat. You might get upset and your energy might be taken away. But you've got to understand something, and this is where your gift is. You do this for yourself. You provide your own energy. It's a self-tapping source you're going into there. It's like a well. It keeps filling up with your own energy. They don't have that. They don't get that from themselves, so they have to get it from other people. And just knowing that will help you sympathize and forgive them, and also be grateful for them because of the lessons they're going to teach you. When you start going, cool, there's a boundary I'm crossing here. I'm not comfortable going out to this place that you want me to go to meet this person for whatever the situation. I'm not comfortable. That sense of discomfort that doesn't want to do it, it's not a part of your passion. That is the discerning spirit. That is your compass saying, don't go that way, go that way. And you follow what you want. And I know as a spiritual person, you probably sit and go, I'm meant to be giving. I'm meant to be considerate. I'm meant to be open-minded. But if you have to convince yourself out of a good feeling to please someone else, there's the boundary being crossed. So the reason you get taken advantage of as a spiritual person is because you're saying, well, as long as you use the right words, it's a free for all. That's actually what you're saying. If you do it the right way, you can have what you want. And that's not really true to that spiritual self. It's, I'll see how I feel. And what happens is these energetic vampires get pissed off. When you do not cross your own boundaries on their behalf, they will start gunning for you through emotional manipulation. Are you so selfish you can't even consider me in this? What about how I feel? And they'll play this game. That's their responsibility, much like your own energetic emotional space is your responsibility. That's theirs. So it's not your burden to bear. And this is probably the biggest, most magical thing I could say about spirituality. Do not onboard the emotional consequence and responsibility of someone else's behavior. And it is so much easier said than done, but when you follow that feeling inside of pure happiness and fulfillment in whatever you want to do, it will only ever lead to the growth of that. If you start following people pleasing and fall into these places because you become good as a spiritual person, your goodness starts to outshine everything. Your giving nature. But the problem is that you do that to what end? You keep giving, you keep pouring of yourself into others, and they keep eating it up because they can't do it for themselves. You being the most authentic, passionate you is enough food for them to know what action to take next. It's not your responsibility to make sure they do it. And something really important happened that helped me design this video today. Last night I went to dinner with a really good friend of mine and my girlfriend, and we went out and we were having a really great time, and we were sitting sort of in the corner of the restaurant on the outside because it was too hot for us to go inside with a bunch of people. So we sat outside, and a homeless person walked past, and she was very kind. She wasn't ugly in any way. Sort of leaned through the fence and said, excuse me, please can you give me something so that my brother and I could eat? I just immediately grabbed my wallet. I grabbed 20 Rand, which is like $1, but that does a lot more in South Africa than it does in America. I grabbed 20 Rand and I gave her 20 Rand through the fence. And she said, is that, something to eat? And my girlfriend said, yeah, take the takeaways and just pass it to her over the fence. And so I did, and I just felt good. I felt in myself that's what I wanted to do. And the manager stepped out, and actually she didn't shout, she didn't make a scene of it, but my girlfriend asked her, does this happen a lot? And we could very clearly see this girl wasn't in the right frame of mind, but none of us jumped to the conclusion, drug addict. And then the manager said to us, she used to often give her pizzas, and she'd go over to the petrol station, sell the pizzas, get the cash to go buy drugs. And a lot of people at that point will think, I don't want to give to that. But there's an important point behind that doesn't allow my energy to be stolen in what I do. If I go and I create that resistance of not giving, I'm actually giving my energy away again, because my authentic self in that moment was to give. What she does with it is her responsibility. Just like I said, it's not your responsibility to make sure they take the next step. You just be authentic to yourself. It bears its own gifts. Much like creating your own energy does, it has its own gifts on top of that. And it's a manifesting tool as well. Not that I had that intention, but giving her the money was just something I felt in my authenticity I needed to do. I just needed to do that. And that leads me to the most awesome Chinese proverb I heard. And it was about a man with a snake. And what happened was, so he was walking past and there was a fire pit and a snake was in the fire pit. So he ran to the fire pit, he grabbed the snake, and as he was trying to toss it out, it bit him. So in that shock, he dropped it and it fell back in the fire pit. And he went back again and he grabbed it, and as he went to throw it out again, it bit him again. So he dropped it. And the third time, he sort of went around and grabbed it and threw it out. It was out of the pit and he had 2 snake bites. One of the bystanders turned around and said to him, why would you go and save the snake or attempt so many times after it's bitten you? And his answer was something like, it's in the snake's nature to bite, but it's in my nature to help, and I'm not going to let its nature change mine. And that's the philosophy behind what I'm saying about protecting your energy. You have to be your authentic self. That is how you stay safe from these vampires. It's when you step out of that nature, out of that true self, that your energy starts being depleted, that you start giving it off to other people because you're not respecting your own boundaries. So I hope this video clears it up for you. I hope that those stories help you see how this works. If you don't want to miss out on any more of these videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, turn it on so that you don't miss another upload. Thanks so much for being here and watching this video. For those of you who are still here, you're legends. Thanks so much. I'll see you all in the next one. Mad love and light.